all I did was to take a shower and then decide to sleep.
Talking of shower, there was some drizzles as well. And,
I didn't feel it.
so
I'll
the
be
weather,
very honest.
the weather was pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't feel any. I think I woke up and then I saw, raindrops on some vehicles close by. That's when I realized, okay, maybe it might have drizzled a bit, but I just decided. Sometimes it's important when you get home, you forget about everything.
I guess you're not a night owl then.
Oh, I am. I actually prefer being up at night as compared to. I struggle to sleep early. I'm very honest, but some days, you return and the body says you just decide that you want to.
Soon, right.
You understand? So I just decided I was going to retire very very early and allow myself catch a bit more in terms of rest. So I can look forward to today and what the day holds in store for us. Even that, whilst I was resting, I was thinking about some stories that I'm supposed to follow up on today. So I can imagine deciding to read and do a few more things. But anyways, let's get into the newspapers, shall we? A number of them are here already this morning. I have the Daily Graphic and the Ghanaian Times as well. Big banner story on the Daily Graphic this morning. President unveils homegrown healthcare funding. 3 billion cedis unlocked from uncapped NHIS. The story is by Kester Abram Crunchy. He's the presidential affairs correspondent. He pens this one. Also on the front page, $1 billion cocoa financing plan to deepen domestic bond market. According to the Bank of Ghana, the governor, Dr. Johnson Pandit Isiama, is pictured on the front page as well. Ministry of Health set to recruit 6,000 volunteers for free primary health care. It's a story I want to get details of. And on the back page, Semenyo, Ghana ready to prove World Cup pedigree. Follows his recent successes after lifting the FA Cup, scoring the crucial goal to give Man City the lead, to the win, I should say. And still on the World Cup countdown, we're 23 days away from the biggest showpiece in terms of football that continues to tick away here on the 3FM Sunrise. And the Ghanaian Times is the last paper I have, and then perhaps we'll do the news online portals after K finishes with what he has. At the 79th World Health Assembly, falling health aid threatens millions. President Mahama cautions world leaders. Governor calls for prudent decisions to sustain disinflation. Minority leader warns of job losses over 1D, 1F cancellation. And fight against Galamsey. Minerals Commission pilot drone surveillance in Western region. Consumers not getting value for money. NCA tells telcos. And on the back page, Ghana records decline in multi-dimensional poverty according to the latest Ghana Statistical Service report. World Vision launches land restoration project in Napdam. Okay.
Yes, I have Daily Guide here. And it says on the front page, MTN Ghana launches 30th anniversary, unveils $1.1 billion network investment, fintech growth. And we have a story on Gift Yowari. Here it says NSA scandal, court admits Gift Yowari, ADB Bank documents. And then the famous buffer stock case.
Yeah, Abdul Wahab.
Yes.
Hanan.
Yes, Hanan Abdul Wahab and wife get 63.5 million Ghana cedis bail. And then we have Moon to Me as well, on page 6 of the Daily Guide. It says, Woon to Me denies Exim Bank 14 million Ghana cedis fraud charges. And yesterday's drama of the day, poor internet service at the Public Accounts Committee. Here it says, Abena Sam George clash at PAC.
Right, those are the details. I'll take us to the online portals, after which we'll take a listen to that drama which unfolded at the Public Accounts Committee hearing. But 3news.com is a very disturbing story, right? A very, very disturbing story in the Western North region, where one person dead, chief and 6 others injured in clash with illegal miners at Asawinso.
Wow.
One person dead, chief and 6 others injured in clash with illegal miners at Asawinso. And I'll get details of that. The big push, have we learnt enough from the long history of abandoned projects? It's a piece on the 3news on 3news.com that you should read for yourself. Commuters stranded as heavy rain cuts off Asante Mampong Ijra Road. Finance Ministry clears recruitment of 8,000 health professionals, and Woon to Me, Exim Bank alleged loan fraud case adjourned to June 18. On myjoyonline.com, their big story is Felix Kwachofutu saying that Mahama, or the president, was the biggest obstacle to Ibrahim Mahama's Damine mine bid. A bit more from him. Government seeks to buy 30% of gold from miners to boost reserves. That's according to the central bank. Mahama recused himself over Daman mine deal. Kwachofutu rejects Ibrahim's state capture claims. And Sam George Abena says are a clash over poor network service and delays in fixing results. The Ghana Bar Association rejects NPP tag by Ofosu Kwachi. And on City Newsroom, Ghana risks outsourcing economic sovereignty and the IMF PCI deal. That's according to ISODEC, the Integrated Social Development Center. ISODEC, they've criticized the government's decision to enter a new IMF policy coordination instrument arrangement, warning that the country risking or outsourcing its economic sovereignty. A few more. Ablekuma North ranked best performing district in Ghana multi-dimensional poverty index. Loss-making SOEs fueling Ghana's debt burden. Dr. Richmond Etiahine is saying this, and Thea Champon says IMF PCI to strengthen credibility, discipline, and reforms. It's a final paper which we have a digital copy of.
Yes, Aviation Ghana says travel sector crisis deepens over credit delays, and GTDC expands influence with new tourism products. And then we have here government rules out compensation for bondholders affected by DDP haircuts, and Qatar Airways to enhance operations in Africa. Yes.
So here's how I want us to start. I want us to start off first by taking a listening on that class from yesterday, right? And then after which I'll return and pick your thoughts on it, whether or not the entire debate is even, because yes, the network service may be poor, but didn't have to go in the manner in which it went. Then a few more in terms of Galamsey related stories and some court related stories as well. But first, here's what transpired at the Public Accounts Committee between the chair, but who was not sitting as a chair, Abna Osayasari, and then the Minister for Communications, Digitalization, Sam Nati George.
Private businesses are about making profit, and those profits they paid to you over 8 years at the Finance Ministry as corporate taxes. Policy decision and policy leadership ought to make sure that we took steps to protect the customer. And I'm saying that we, under this reset agenda and under a responsible government, have done so. Minister, Honorable, I'm also a member of Parliament. Don't do this. You don't speak. I am on the floor, Honorable. me finish. Minister, let me finish. No, you don't tell us what you want to. But you've not brought me here to talk down on me as well. Nobody's seen that. I listen to you go on. Nobody's seen that as well. Respect me. We have
3FM 92.7.
Give me the floor. Minister, Minister, respect me. This is our committee. Minister, respect me, I understand. If it's your committee, then don't invite her. But if you invite her, you ask the law. Minister, respect me. Question, you listen to us as well. Minister, respect me. So respectfully, let me learn. We will let you learn. Minister, respectfully, let me learn. Minister, we are not coming to repeat anything. Respectfully, let me learn. Please, when you come here and we address you, it is not that we want to shut anybody down. Never. We go through and then we go beyond this. We go beyond this. It is not that we want to shut anybody down. But Minister, the situation is serious. And that is all the sentiments I'm trying to carry across. And that's the point I'm making. We've given a policy direction in January. On the back of our policy direction, MTN is rolling out 800 new sites. Telecel is rolling out 350 new sites. Between those two companies, you see 1,150 new sites. However, that's why I said to you that this is engineering and not sentiment. When you ask an MNO to roll out a new site, there are steps that have to be taken. First and foremost, you need to do the acquisition of the site. Then you need to then make the requisition for the radio equipment and the cell site. Those are not things that are, for want of a better phrase, in a supermarket that you just go and buy. You place an order with an OEM. The regulator, the NCA, is going through this process. Most of the MNOs are receiving their BTA devices between July and August. So yes, we have made the request. We have asked them to take the steps. They have taken the steps. But it takes time for the equipment
3FM
to arrive in the country.
92.7.
And when the equipment arrives and they roll out the improvement, you will see the improvement in the network. But we cannot sit here after 10 years of failing to take action. Someone is taking action, and then you say that you want to see that quickly. How many of the sites are they building this year? MTN is doing 800 new sites. Telecel is doing 350 new sites. So we're looking at 1,150 new sites this year. And I'm telling you that over the last 6 years, from 2016, the average has been 223 sites per year. And so if this year we are doing 1,150, we are doing a 500% increase to try and cover. And that's why I'm saying that, yes, we all go through the challenge. But I'm saying to you that you cannot build some of these things into being with a snap of a finger. It takes time. And so I'm saying that by we get that order in the first quarter of this year, it will take about 3 to 6 months. I am confident that by the end of Q3 going into Q4, we would see a remarkable improvement in the network.
That's the Minister for Communications and Digital Technology, Samuel Nati George, and the chair of the Public Accounts Committee, Abinose Asare, who was not seated as a chair because she's decided to recuse herself from the position of chair and be just an ordinary member when the matters come up in relation to her time, because these are considerations of matters during her time when she was finance minister, deputy finance minister, and what have you. Could it have been handled better is a question on the minds of a lot of people. Some seem to have been excited as to how it all went down. Obviously, things like this excite a lot of people.
For me, the irony itself is a bit staggering. You know, we have a former deputy minister who was a minister at a point in time as well, you know, who helped supervise the era under scrutiny. Asking questions and asking very tough questions.
Yeah, she's asked a lot of tough questions.
Yeah, tough questions, and it's expected of her. I think it's expected of her. There was an interview post sitting, and the minister shares his experience with her personally, their personal relationship and so on and so forth, and how he was when he was on the other side,
It used to make life difficult.
yeah,
for them.
he was equally ruthless. So one will expect that it's a win-win for Ghana. For us, we as citizens, we always want the best. We want things to be scrutinized to the latter, so we can get the best out of it. But I also think that the minister could have, handled it better. Yeah.
He could have, as in toning it down a bit.
It was a bit excessive, a little bit dramatic, and a bit excessive. I say, the better so man yeah.
Yeah, but I tend to agree with you a bit more in terms of excessive, and that's his nature, and so by no means, I just feel he felt it was a moment of retaliation for all the times he was seated on the committee. And so he was sort of prepared for an instance like that. But to the substance of the issue which got them, or which served us this moment, is the quality of service.
Yeah.
The quality of service which is being provided by the mobile network operators. Off the top of my head, I recall somewhere last year, the National Communications Authority issued a directive for the telcos to improve upon bandwidths in areas and what have you. We haven't gotten an update. I think one of the papers mentions the NCA raising concerns as to a certain quality and what have you. But it's instructive, the point the minister makes as well, and that is if all he said was actually true, that in 8 to 10 years, mobile network operators actually directives were not issued for them to improve upon service. And I'll be very surprised if that were the case in the last 8 to 10 years, because he makes a suggestion in that light that, look, enough investment has not been made over the course of the last 8 to 10 years to improve network efficiency and delivery.
Yeah.
I find that...
I think even the deputy minister as well, somewhere last year in October, he echoed a promise that directives had been issued and the network situation was going to get better.
Yeah.
And they were going to follow up on it judiciously. But, fast forward, we're still having the same problems.
Exactly.
I have family in the deep rural and friends across.
Oh, you're talking deep rural. I'm talking about Accra. Areas around Ablekuma.
Yes.
Uduman.
Yes.
And what have you, Afuaman. Network reception is terrible.
It hasn't changed. Sometimes the voices, you can't even hear the person on the other side. You have to really.
And this is Accra.
Yes.
This is Accra.
Yes.
These are areas I know very well. I could decide I'm going to see my mom today, and when I get there, immediately I get there, you can call me and it will not even come through.
Yeah, I think those directives should be taken more seriously and enforced to the latter. We are good at issuing directives, but when it comes to enforcement, and because we need to get value for money. It's one of the problems that customers suffer from our telcos. Are we getting value for money? And to speak to Sam George's way of handling the matter to a certain extent as well, I also think the Public Account Committee can do a lot better. When you ask a question,
allow the individual answer it.
You need to allow them to respond positively. And along the lines, if you have any question, you hold on with it. When he's done with his response, you can. But it always seems like a battlefield, and what we saw as a result of that.
Accountability can be an interesting thing because you need to sometimes squeeze the truth out of the individuals. Unfortunately, for the Public Accounts Committee, dare I say, a lot of what they say, more often than not, does not go anywhere. We were all here when they asked for an individual to be arrested, to be interdicted, and what have you. We're yet to get any update.
Yes.
In relation to that person who was at the Defense Ministry where vehicles were procured. The vehicles are nowhere to be found, yet monies have been paid. Was telling the entire country that, look, the suppliers were giving him pressure.
I think he was the same gentleman in the Fourth Estate story.
Yes, that story where, I mean, the numbers did not quite tally, right? But same gentleman, and we are all here. We are moving on and we're discussing telcos. In fact, we're going to go back to the Public Accounts Committee because some of the stories we were hearing from there yesterday about 35 million cedis being used on 6,000 police officers. Frederick, how many days did the All African Games last even? And 35 million cedis in excess was used for 6,000 police officers, and there's no documentation whatsoever to that effect.
Yes, that happened, and who was IGP at the time? Dampare.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he appeared to be such an upright man. I don't know what happened, but well, maybe we should probe further and get to the bottom of it.
Fred, let's hear the details of that engagement in relation to the 35 million cedis, right? And then perhaps it will put the matters into proper context.
6,000 police officers. 6,000 police officers. That was a so-called, I don't know whether they call it Africa Games or All Africa Games. African Games. It's Africa Games. And they spent 35.8 million in 2024 for police officers. And we don't have documentation of it. How? Minister of Sport. How? And you want to sit there and come and argue? Go to your time. Minister of Sport. We need to change the minister almost every year. Ministry of Sport. We need to change a minister every year. If you can't understand this duplication, I don't understand why we should change the minister every year. Maybe we need to change everybody in the ministry every year to keep the minister. The question is, how would you submit what you have raised questions on yourself? That's what they want to do. Yes, thank you. We got assurance from the police that they will provide the supporting of the internal auditor. Internal auditor. And this was a bill submitted by the police. And I was really puzzled when the bill was submitted to me. Because we didn't reach that agreement. Initially, they were to have policemen to assist in carrying out police duties. We were initially even feeding them. Then they pulled out. And from nowhere, at the end of it, they brought this bill. And I wrote to them to justify why such a quantum. And they couldn't justify. So that is where we've gotten to. I was shocked to the marrow with the kind of bill they brought. And I said, please give us justifications and break it down to support what you are claiming.
So, 35 million cedis, and from what the officials of the sports ministry say, it wasn't an agreement they reached with the police, and the bill came after the games.
Yeah.
Right? And so it wasn't expenditure that was before the games, it was after the games when
post
they were post-event they were seeking to so 35 million cedis.
And that's 6,000 offices.
6,000 officers.
So basically, we were spending 2.3
million
million
cedis
cedis a day
for 15 days.
Yes, for 15 days. For each day, So that's 6,000 officers. So each officer per day, or for the 15 days, each officer for the 15 days was doing 5,833,000 Ghana cedis.
5,800 cedis plus.
Yeah.
How much of it went into logistics in terms of moving the police men around? How much of it went into food? How much of it went into the actual allowance they are given?
Yeah.
I have a few police friends who do listening on the show. I will be very happy if they share, not perhaps details specific as to the All Africa Games, but mostly when there are protests, there are demonstrations, and they are deployed, feeding and all of that comes with some allowance while being on the job.
Yeah.
I will want a number of them to share a few in terms of those details. And I mean, there's no cause for concern as to a mention of names.
I think the commentary I saw stipulates it's okay. Most people think that the figure is not exaggerated.
Yeah.
But they want value for money, and also want to understand where is the paperwork. That's something that Ghanaians are asking, and that's something that the Public Account Committee is also probing. Where's the paperwork? Who signed what? Who did what?
Yeah, it's an important question, but there are a number of court stories as well from this morning in relation to Gift Yowari, Chairman
Wontumi, and Hanan.
And the Ghanaian Times doesn't have details of Abdul Hanan, but I think the Daily Guide was. So maybe you start off with the Daily Guide, and then I'll come in with Gift Yowari and the others, because she's in the Supreme Court as well today, because she's seeking a stay while she challenges the court's decision to have disclose certain matters in relation to witnesses.
Yeah. So let's get into the Hanan one. This is a story by Gabriel Abdul Razak. It says, buffer stock case, Hanan wife gets 63.5 million Ghana cedis bail. Former Chief Executive Officer of National Food and Buffer Stock Limited, NAFCO, Hanan Abdul Wahab Aludiba, and his wife Faiza Seidu were yesterday granted bail for allegedly stealing and causing about 62.6 million Ghana cedis financial loss to the state. Hanan was granted a bail of 60 million Ghana cedis with two sureties who must be justified, while Faiza Seidu was granted a bail of 3.5 million with two sureties who must be justified. The two were ordered to deposit their passports at the registry of the court. They were placed on the stop list at all exit points of the country, and the Attorney General filed new charges against the couple last Friday after they were initially discharged by the court following the AG's decision to drop the charges against them.
So fresh charges have been filed. Wontumi as well is facing fresh charges of alleged 30 million cedis Exim Bank fraud. The story is by Malik Suleimana. It reads that it's on page 3 of the Ghanaian Times, reads that the New Patriotic Party's national chairman hopeful Bernard Boesiako Entry, also known as Chairman Wontumi, is facing fresh criminal charges for intentionally causing financial loss of more than 30 million cedis to the Ghana Export Export-Import Bank, the Ghana Exim Bank. Mr. Entry, the first accused, Thomas Entry Boesiako, the second accused, now at large, together with Wuntumi Farms Limited, have been charged with defrauding by false pretense, money laundering, and uttering forged documents. The accused allegedly received various sums from the Exim Bank, Ghana, with the intention to invest in a farming project. It is a case of the say that sometime in January 2018, Mr. Boesiako, the first accused, approached Exim Bank for a grant, that's 90 million facility, to embark on a farming venture. So it wasn't a loan that you talk of repayment.
Yeah.
It was a grant, and a grant you don't pay back, right?
Yes.
So the Deputy Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Shemsai, said in a grant application letter that Wuntumi, ostensibly as Wuntumi Farms Limited, Managing Director, declared that a parcel of land, 100 acres in size, had been secured for the project. He said on January 16, 2018, the bank made a mixture of loan and grant facility offer of 18.7. So it was a mixture, loan and then grant to Wuntumi Farms to be spent on the purchase of agricultural plant and machinery, working capital, in a grant for staff and labor costs and consultancy fees. Now, the Deputy Attorney General also revealed that at 4 p.m. on January 23, 2018, Wuntumi signed the acceptance in Kumasi in the presence of the second accused as a witness. He said that by March 2018, the bank commenced disbursing the facility to Wuntumi Farms Limited. The Deputy Attorney General mentioned that a total of 14 million cedis was disbursed. However, according to investigations, he established that the accused did not undertake the proposed farming activity. He said they brought no agricultural plant and machinery, and also they employed no one to work on the farm. They did not own or secure the parcel of land which they represented to the bank as a parcel of land secured for the proposed farm. And so it is a case of the say that sometime in March, Wuntumi presented a document which bore receipts to the bank. And it disclosed that Wuntumi presented the document as evidence that Wuntumi Farms Limited had purchased 4 million cedis worth of agricultural plant and machinery for the farm. Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting. And so they made representations that we have purchased we've secured a parcel of land, and they presented a receipt. This according to the state. They presented a receipt worth 4 million cedis.
Yes.
That they purchased 4 million cedis worth of agricultural inputs when same had not been purchased.
Yeah.
That's the case for him to answer outside of the illegal mining claims as well. That's a case, but this same individual is also running for chairmanship of the NPP.
Yes, there are quite a number of them who are facing trial. There's the Mustafa Hamid, the famous Mustafa Hamid story as well. He's also running for.
He's running for a position.
Yeah, he's running for vice chairman, national vice chairman. Yeah.
I don't want to say what's in my mind, so you let me keep quiet.
Should I help you say it?
Yes, help me say it.
Oh, I mean, you're innocent until you're proven guilty. So
They
I
should-
think it
they
does
should
not.
run-
It does not. There's nothing that
Bars them.
yeah.
Right.
So they're entitled to run, but I think from a party perspective, they should be asking themselves: is that what they really want? What are the optics really like?
For the New Patriotic Party.
Yes, for the New Patriotic Party. If you have people who are facing prosecution, and I think it's very important to establish some clarity. A lot of people have categorized these prosecutions as persecutions, but these are prosecutions that will go through the mill of justice, and we are sure that justice will be served. But what do the optics really look like for the ordinary Ghanaian? For the ordinary Ghanaian, we're asking ourselves, why are the same people being fingered in most of these scandals, so much zeal to run for office. Yes.
I think it's a question for the delegates of the NPP. Yeah, as to yes, these are party executive hopefuls, and the elections come off a lot later this year. It's a question as to if they want to have a cloud of prosecutions. I don't like to call it persecutions because per what it is that we are being told.
Yeah, even the Hanan case itself has metamorphosed
into I think that has to do with the withdrawal of the case.
Yes.
Their subsequent arrest and what was a difficulty in granting them bail.
Yeah.
Making people draw inference, and that's why I think a bit more can be done, or it can be done a lot more tidy. It could be tidier, right? That's the word I'm looking for. It could be tidier in terms of how all of it is carried. So when you withdraw, you rearrest, the person is already on a bail, right? Their passport and all that has been seized. It shouldn't take another 48 hours.
Yeah.
To have them dealt with and then granted bail again, because you have them on bail on one aspect, their passport and all of that has been detained, and that is what lends room for persons to say that this comes off as persecution and what have you. But outside of that,
but within the legal fraternity, it's a normal process. I mean, in the course of investigation or prosecution, if you come across new evidence, you are expected to do the needful, procedurally needful. So I think most of the speculators have not considered that angle, because who wants to go to court and lose? If you're going to court, you ought to win. So if along the lines of prosecution, you realize, I mean, there's evidence leading you into another direction that has stronger grounds for conviction.
By all means, you can withdraw
and
return stronger.
Of course. So I wouldn't fault the Attorney General's strategy. It's quite similar to what we've seen the OSP, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, do as well.
Yeah, he's withdrawn a few times. I think he withdrew the charges against Mustafa Hamid and then refiled
as well. Yeah. So it's
no, for the decision to withdraw, there can be no qualms.
Yeah.
It's the aftermath of the withdrawal and the activity surrounding it, right? Which I think gave room for concern as to, yes, by all means withdraw, but when you rearrest the individuals, it shouldn't. That's where the argument. It shouldn't take another 48 hours plus when they're already on bail after the first.
I'll leave that one for the
legal luminaries. Yeah.
Yes, but there's the NSA scandal as well, which points to Gifty Owari and the ADB Bank documents as well. I mean, Gifty Owari now occupies a role on the GFA. A lot of people have asked questions, and a lot of people have also questioned how the NSA could be that much scandalized. But we are equally hoping that case will also see some sunlight and can come to a quick closing as well.
Yeah, I have a copy of that story on the Ghanaian Times. Let me take that, and then we have a quick spot of commercial we'll take. When we return, then we'll talk about the Galamsey issues from the Western North region. So, Gifty Owari Mensah's alleged 31 million cedis transfer letter admitted in court. That story as well is by Malik Suleimana, I believe will be their court correspondent. The story reads, and I'll see if there's any difference in terms of what the Daily Guide reports. The High Court in Accra yesterday admitted into evidence a letter allegedly written by Gifty Owari Mensah, a former National Service Scheme Deputy Executive Director, directing the Agricultural Development Bank (ADB) to transfer 31 million cedis into a company's private bank account. The document was tendered through Mr. Gilbert Sebe Yeboah, head of the Commercial Banking Department at ADB. He was led in evidence by Mrs. Dufie Prempe, who's principal state attorney. Now, counsel for the accused, Mr. Gary Nimako Mafo, objected to the tendering of the letter, arguing it was not legible and dated and not the original copy, and that the letterhead was so faint that it was not even readable. The document which the witness intends to tender is not legible and dated not the original copy, and in fact the supposed letterhead which he claims was authored by the accused person is so faint that it is not readable. Nimako Mafu complained. However, Justice Audrey Kokuvite, presiding, agreed that the copy before the court was faint, but admitted the document subject to the prosecution filing a clearer copy. And pretty much the story. And so the document which provides some detail as to, because remember the AG says investigations revealed that she was diverting, or she transferred some of the money into a personal account.
Yes.
ADB has tendered in what is documents which supports that claim.
Yeah.
In the ongoing trial.
Mm-hmm.
And is it any different from how the Daily Guide reports it?
Well, the Daily Guide here says a High Court in Accra yesterday resumed the trial of former Deputy Director of NSA, Gifty Owari Mensah, who is accused of stealing from the authority. The court has admitted multiple documents relating to request and transfer of funds between NSA and ADB, funds the prosecution is alleging the accused stole from the state. The trial has taken a long break following multiple applications filed by lawyers for the accused person, challenging an order by the court on the accused person to file a list of witnesses she intends to call when the time comes for her to mount a defense. Gifty Owari has been dragged to court for allegedly causing financial loss of 6,956,157.47 by causing the state to pay the said amount as interest to the ADB.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
Let's go for this quick break. When we return, I'll take you to 3news.com, because that story about one person dying and a chief and some 6 others getting injured over clashes in relation to Galamsey, the fight against Galamsey. We have an eyewitness account of what may have transpired, and then perhaps we'll reach out to NIMOS and the Land and Natural Resources Ministry as to what is happening in relation to the Galamsey fight. This is a 3FM Sunrise. Stay with us. We're back after this break.
This is where the
Sunrise. And so that story on 3news.com, one person dead, chief and 6 others injured in a clash with illegal miners at Asawinso. So one person has been confirmed dead while a chief and 6 others are receiving treatment following a shooting incident involving suspected illegal miners at Asawinso A in the Bibiani and Yaso Bekwai municipality of the Western North region. The incident occurred when the chief of Seshi Asawinso A, Nana Kwesi Eyim II, accompanied by some youth from the community, visited the Afao Hill Forest Reserve, where illegal mining activities were reportedly taking place. And according to an eyewitness, Kwame Awudu, the group had gone to the forest to observe the activities of illegal miners operating within the Afao Hill Forest enclave. He said the chief engaged the miners in a peaceful discussion, urging them to stop the operation. However, while the group were returning from the site, they were allegedly ambushed by heavily built men believed to be associated with the illegal miners, who opened fire on them. Several injured victims were rushed to the Anyaso Community Hospital, where they are currently receiving treatment. And we have the eyewitness who saw the incident, as well as my colleagues from Ghana Tonight engaged the NIMOS team as well. So we'll get into that. First, let's hear from the eyewitness as they spoke in relation to what transpired.
Here's an eyewitness account of how it unfolded.
Then I said, "Nanti, but oh, henna fast so. It's 19 in the teenage. So be it necessary that oh, henna fast, I know. But we are copying the vehicle. Until 19. Then I said, "Nanti, but oh, henna fast so. It's 19 in the teenage. So be it necessary that oh, henna fast, I know. But we are copying the vehicle. Until 90 to you would in a cheat. Then in a point. Good night. And a boy. The United States to be forest man, no more Yagalam Seal. The prayer number she's a air human. Until we say a dose no most of machine. And I have been on ban and no more difficult. The former and by no say. One of the ultimate Nanankas and your friend in Penny 4. And the Yakazakas and bear Simodunum Luciana, my nearby. And the one of Paso. And I am to Paso after a United Tijuana, when in the buy. And the point in the buy no Casana. Yabato had the intimate Casao and Wulamuha. In the area, young coffee and young coding commodity will be a ready. Yabaka. No. Every few Quaman and Coffon to share your soul. It's you and it's a kind, it's your KB. Planning for your life, will be a journey. But for the meantime, no Casadia, Nipabe, Lumens, and the Tuna Cow, I ain't any crown. The Tuna can be in himself, the emergency.
It will be a course where Asawinso may Udikru, our friend with by NCA. On them ran TV, Moyanity said, a month will be 2 from a good year do a quiet. I Asawinso. Until on them ran here on a ran TV or wire, walk over your meeting a Chineko. To a more some cock of Pamon Rantino. And you do now. I'm saying, Nanadon to him or be possible by say, a Dumano or can be in Tisadi or Mumrefi, some mechanas and not the Okonomonka. To a more for Monam Quans or mobile penna. Rantie Umkita Sekani to some film free no more to share Mosua. I mean, I said the one I can confirm, say, Bakumpo to a camera or films is here. No, say, doctor for confirm actually say, Bakuno the air family see, when you and Phoebe, they are sending is here, films is here, and no press, Saturday in the course. Anybody some say, Cassie, giant Rantie and say, a moon for a more pay and show once more, they missing in yet. But they can say, I will run number. And he brings swabber, but Ning I am with it.
And so, Fred, keep the video on. Keep the video on for us. That's the assemblyman who just spoken earlier. It was an eyewitness, and you see someone being rushed to the facility after an attack, and the women wailing in disbelief as to what may have transpired and all of that. So one person we understand has been confirmed dead.
Wow.
And the chief as well as 6 others. So in all about 8 persons. But the eyewitness tells us he was a part of the contingent of young men, and it was a peaceful discussion.
That escalated really fast.
In fact, they were leaving the site and then they got ambushed.
Yeah.
By the men, and he mentions knives, guns, and they had to flee for their lives, and a number of persons.
There was about 40 of them, right?
Yeah, a number of persons were hit, and some are the emergency, because that's the emergency ward from what we see, and
the chief reportedly has been shot as well.
Yes,
and is receiving treatment.
The chief has reportedly been shot. The assemblyman Frank Nelson Aka, whom we heard, was engaged as well extensively on the subject matter again on Ghana Tonight. So as we don't come off as repetitive, I want us to listen to his account as well again in terms of what may have played out. And you ask a question as to where NIMOS is in all of this. My colleagues as well spoke to the team. Then we'll have to go back to Matthew Ahiave and connect on the ground and find out what the situation is this morning as well. But let's first hear from the assemblyman again, provide a bit more in terms of explanation and what they've been doing, a proper context in relation to this.
But the cause of this unfortunate incident is as a result from the chief preventing the Galamseyers from entering Afar Hill Forest Reserve for the purpose of illegal mining activity. The chief, according to my investigation, engaged the miners this afternoon to ascertain the ownership of the site and the person who gave them the authority to work in that area. However, while the chief was interacting with them, the owners of the site came and asked him to go to the house for negotiations. Upon returning to the house, they were ambushed. By heavily built man believed to be associated with the illegal miners. In fact, this evening, the youth, if not my intervention, they had even gone to the site and bent their excavators. To come to Asawinso this evening, it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
I see. The community must be devastated, Frank. Indeed. And I want us to talk about the people who are injured. How are they doing tonight?
For now, about 6 of them, they are receiving treatment at the Asawinso Community Hospital, including the chief.
I see. And this person who died, how old is he? Or was he?
He's 36 years old.
Say that again?
58 years old.
58 years old. 32 years old. I see. Yes. How is the assembly handling this issue? Have any arrests been made at all?
So far, the owner of the site, who is popularly known as Obede, has been arrested to assist the police in investigation.
I see. And in terms of their activities in the Afar Hill Forest Reserve, how long has it been going on?
In fact, according to the Forestry Commission, we spoke with them this evening. They were saying they were working close to the Forest Reserve, but they don't know these miners. They can do everything, so they will go there to. They were working alongside the entrance, but I'm told they had entered the distance, but it's not long.
Is this? And again, let's establish: is this an illegal mining activity ongoing in the forest?
Yeah, they were working close to the forest. But these people, when they can enter the forest at any time, if they are not careful, they can go there at any time. But they were working along that entry.
And how long had they been doing that? Do you know?
In fact, I heard they were working around that area about 2 weeks ago. I heard them working, but I asked and they told me that they were not in the forest reserve. But myself, I have not been there.
I see. So what do you plan to do now?
Now the case is before the police, and the youth are just made an announcement this evening to meet the youth tomorrow as early as possible to have work with them.
Frank, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking.
So that was the assemblyman on the subject matter.
Yeah.
A bit more in terms of questions, right? And you've been asking a number of them. I want to hear you on that. Then I'll connect with Matthew Ahiave on the telephone lines as to what the situation is this morning.
Yeah, I mean, what comes to mind immediately is NIMOS, because NIMOS seems to be the Power Rangers in our fight against Galamsey. So when things like this happen, you are asking what is NIMOS doing about it. But NIMOS itself is not omnipresent in the fight.
They are not everywhere.
They are not omnipresent in the fight against Galamsey. So probably this happened on their blind side. But I can fathom how a chief who is the custodian of the land decides to support the fight against Galamsey, decides to support government's call against the fight against Galamsey, and organizes the youth to investigate some of these matters, and then just when they were supposed to be making headway, they are ambushed, brutally assaulted, some shot, one dead. It's devastating, and it's a dent on the credibility of our fight against Galamsey. I mean, if we cannot protect our traditional leaders who willingly, because there are the traditional leaders who have been alleged or who are allegedly allowing some of these things to happen. So if we have traditional leaders who are showing up, who are taking responsibility and owning the moment and saying, no, enough is enough, let's organize a community task force or a community watchdog to go and look into the matters ourselves. We go there and they are ambushed and assaulted, several shot, one dead. That's devastating.
Matthew Ahiave is my colleague who covers the Western North region for us. He's joined us via the phone lines this morning. Matthew, good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on the 3FM Sunrise. We've been hearing from a number of eyewitnesses as well as from the assemblyman for the area. As at this morning, 7:40, what can you report is a situation in the community?
Mawena, good morning. This morning, let me say, I'm now preparing to go to the scene. From where I am to where the incident happened there is quite a distance, about an hour or 1.5 hours to the place. But then I spoke with the assemblyman this morning concerning what is going on or the current state of the area, and he made me aware that the area is cool as of this morning. But then yesterday evening, the youth went to the site, went there to get some equipment or some machines bent and all that. But then I'm yet to get there to verify that by myself. So currently, as the assemblyman told me, the area is cool.
There's calm which has returned to the area as we speak. We understand one person was arrested in connection with the attack. Have we been able to reach the police? Do we have details on this?
Yes, I've not yet been able to get there, as I'm saying. And then the person who was being arrested, I understand he was just invited, or the police invited him, and they got to know that the said person wasn't even around when the incident happened, so they have to let him go. But then I spoke with one police officer, and he told me they are working around the clock to get to the community to do more investigation on that.
In speaking to the assemblyman, and yesterday you were there, and so you were able to connect with eyewitnesses and all of that. Is this something they do regularly? This citizen vigilante wanting to protect their own environment, is this something they've done regularly?
Yes, Mawena, when you come to Western North region, Galamsey, the issue with the issue of Galamsey, let me say yes to that, because any small place or any small illegal mining site, you see at least one or two people with guns and cutlasses trying to protect the site. And even the bigger ones, and the entire region is, let me say, being noted for this vigilante thing. So, thanks to the new regional police commander, he has, made it a point that anyone found with such ammunition will face the law. So, currently, I can say it's a bit down, but for some time now, as NIMO's operations was being intensified over here, the Galamsey issue came down, and this vigilante thing came down. But then, for some 2 months now, I can tell you that Galamsey is rising at a faster rate over here in the region again. So that means automatically this vigilante thing is, also coming up right now as I'm talking to you.
Right. So you're saying that NIMOS has not been able to be very much present in the Western North region in the last 2 months. Is that what you're saying? And that is leading to a rise in the number of illegal mining activities happening?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. And their presence in the region is only at, I can say, 2 districts. That is Asawinso and sometimes Dabieso enclave. And even that one, there are places that illegal mining is dominant. NIMOS doesn't go there. And we don't know why NIMOS doesn't go there. Even though the illegal mining activities goes on in the forest reserves and also the bigger water bodies in the region.
And for the resident in the Western North region, what do they make of this increase in illegal mining activities as well?
Sometimes we don't want to be. We don't want to say they are being backed by political parties or some traditional authorities. So, when it comes to that, as it's been rising again, anytime some Galamsey issues pop up, you understand that, or you get to realize that there are political leaders behind or traditional leaders behind. So I'm not surprised this incident is happening between two chiefs, because the whole incident was being initiated, even though Galamsey is going on, but you could realize the chief trying to stop the incident or the illegal mining was being attacked by another chief's macho guys who were also doing the galamsey. Because according to some of the residents, they said the chief said since the other one would not allow them have negotiation for him to also take his part, that means he's not also going to give him that chance to stop the illegalities. When it comes to the Western North region, galamsey is something, someone will tell you, I don't mind selling my cocoa farm to galamsey because the government is not helping. The government has reduced cocoa price and all that.
Right. Matthew, I'm sure we'll connect with you again in relation to this subject matter a lot later in the day. I'm sure I'll speak to you much later in the afternoon as well as to what the situation is. But I appreciate you joining us with these brief details and safe journey into the community. We'll connect again pretty shortly. That's my colleague Matthew Ahiave in the Western North region, who is headed to the town right now and tells us that over the last 2 months, illegal mining activities is on the up.
Yes.
And you were saying NIMOS cannot be everywhere.
Yeah.
And they certainly are not everywhere. But it raises a lot of questions in terms of our fight against illegal mining and where it is that we stand at this particular point in time.
I think for me, if you ask about our fight against galamsey, I'll probably read something from Things Fall Apart, where Okonkwo says, not Okonkwo, Obiorika. It's already too late, said Obiorika sadly. Our own men and our sons have joined the ranks of the stranger. They have joined his religion and they help to uphold his government. If we should try to drive out the white men in Umofia, we should find it easy. There are only 2 of them. But what of our own people who are following their way and have been given power? They would go to Umuru and bring the soldiers, and we would be like Abami. He paused for a long time and then said, I told you on my last visit to Imbanta how they hanged Aneto. I mean, one would, you can fathom, we have the Ghana Armed Forces. And NIMOS is supposed to be maybe a subset of it.
Because NIMOS they draw a lot of their personnel from the Ghana Armed Forces.
I don't see the Air Force in there. We are talking galamsey. It should be land air, and I don't see. What I have seen is the blue water guards.
Yeah.
But I'm asking myself, why them instead of
the Navy, possibly?
A well-established Ghana Armed Forces. Our Ghana Armed Forces is not a joke. They are, as an institution, I'm very proud of, because these are strong men, who, when they find themselves up front or close enough at the front lines of fighting galamsey, this will be a thing of the past. So it makes me wonder if it's a lack of political will from one government after the other, and who are the beneficiaries of this wickedness. It's quite troubling. I mean, in the region, we do have a Council of State member.
That's a Western North region.
Yes, One Maxwell, he's into mining as well. We want to hear voices. It should be a collective. It should be a more collective fight against this. We want to hear more voices speak up to the inconsistencies in the fight against galamsey, and how best we should be able to tackle it head on. I think our armed forces have been relegated to the roadside in the fight against galamsey, and it will only be prudent that they are mandated well enough to fight the menace. It's disappointing. A chief shot, and And they say Naimos has not been there in the past 2 months.
Yeah, that's what
because
what
they
the
cannot
people
be everywhere. Like I mentioned previously, they are handicapped. They cannot be everywhere. You know, one would have thought they would have had regional units or district units and things like that. But this is one team moving from place to place, and you know you can't blame them. But you can only blame the operational plan, who approved that operational plan and thought it was efficient. You know, you should know that once you leave the site, these guys are going to return. So what is in place to deal with the issue when you are not on the site? If there was a solution in place, I don't think this incident would have occurred in the first place.
Well, it leads me to ask these series of questions. We've been told there will be coordination between the Air Force, the Armed Force, and the Navy, such that it is not only groundwork in terms of the fight against Galamsey. There's been suggestions as to drones being in the skies to help. And there have been those who've made calls for the choppers as and when they come in to as well be in the sky to help with the fight against Galamsey. Our forests and water zones, water body areas have been declared security zones. Security zones are not places persons should be able to freely walk into and be wielding weapons and be attacking persons.
Yeah.
So what has happened to that suggestion? I'll call it a suggestion now because it doesn't appear it is a statement of fact. What has happened to that suggestion that our forest areas and our water bodies are security zone? Because at the peak last year, when there was a high demand for a declaration of a state of emergency, the response by the government was forest zones, water bodies are security areas or security zones. We know the security zones in the capital. You can't even take pictures there.
Yes.
So what is happening to our security zones in the forest where persons are moving freely with sophisticated weapons and cutlasses?
It looks cosmetic to me. I mean, it looks cosmetic to me because one will ask, if we cannot deal with Galamsey locally, can we deal with an insurgency? Can we deal with a bunch of terrorists trying to hold this country hostage?
Maybe that people will not be profiting from it, and so they can deal with it head on. Because it's very obvious there are persons profiting from
So
this.
it's already too late, said Obiorika, sadly. Our own men have joined the ranks of the stranger.
Right. Bela Shen is here. Sometimes when you talk about these matters, I don't know. He's here. He'll do sports for us. He's a very excited Arsenal fan as they've inched ever so closely to securing a league title.
It's all ending in a lot of praise. Not landing forever, whatever the weather. The streets are our own.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and my heart will leave you never.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm a Bando Hearts of Lions fan. Yeah. And a diehard Swedro All Blacks as well.
Oh wow, Swedro All Blacks.
Yes.
Oh, they might get relegated though.
I mean, it's football.
Oh.
That's the beauty of it. I mean, you win some and you lose some.
Yeah.
Locally, it seems my people lose a lot, but it will get better.
I'm a Heart of Oak and Bando Heart of Lions. Yes, a bit of it. And until recently, Hokwa United, who decided to ditch the entire league.
Yeah.
But outside of the shores of this country, there can only be one club.
Which one?
Chelsea Football Club.
Oh, then you are my brother.
Yeah. Chelsea Football
Must
Club.
be nice.
Blues. I mean, I fell in love with Chelsea because of Essien.
A lot of people fell in love with Chelsea because of Essien.
He brought a lot of finesse and confidence to the game, and It helped some of us at the time. We were young, very young men.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair.
Yes.
Please come to our parade this weekend.
Wait and win the league first.
Wait and win what? We are going to win it. Oh, but for today, I'm a Bournemouth supporter.
Wait
for 24 hours, I'm supporting Bournemouth.
Yeah, because they play City a lot later this afternoon. They need the point as well to secure Champions League.
You
football.
Understand? So we are supporting them.
It makes it even more keen, that game today. But as for me, I have nothing to say in relation to Arsenal and all of the things they say. But I wish them well.
Thank you.
I've conceded on that front, and so we'll
you know, when your heart breaks too many times, at a point,
they've become insulated.
Don't worry, I'm all good. That is why I'm coming to enjoy these moments.
Billy Shen is here. He'll do sports for us, after which we're back with a lot more for you here on the 3FM Sunrise.
Hello, good morning and welcome to Sport here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. My name is Bill Ishen. Now, the Minister for Sport and Recreation, Kofi Adams, has dismissed claims by the South African athletes that competitors at the African Athletics Championships in Accra faced poor living conditions and food rationing, including being limited to either chicken or fish at meals and only one egg for breakfast. He insisted the allegations were false, explaining that proper dietary arrangements were made for athletes who were given options to indicate their food preferences in advance.
There was absolutely no problem with feeding. You see, the problem I have with the media, you speak with an athlete outside who first started by saying he was given half egg. Then he changed the story from half egg to 1 egg. Then he said he was given 1 chicken. Then he changed again that he confronted them and then they gave him 2 chicken. That alone should alert you that the athlete was not telling you the truth. Then he now went further to say in South Africa, he eats 9 eggs. We did not make provision for any athlete to be fed 9 eggs. If any athlete has special diet, there's a form that you fill so that the LOC can factor those needs in. Nobody feel the form that they needed that kind of special diet. So one athlete speaking on some levels of need should not have become the running story. Because on that same day, South African athletes were being fed and full of smiles and thanking the people. But we were not interested in talking about those ones. We were interested in one athlete who did not provide any evidence beyond his own statement. Food was one of the things that the LOC did very well. They scheduled it in such a way that 2 groups were providing breakfast, another set of 2 providing lunch, another set providing dinner, so that there will be no issues. So breakfast was timely, lunch was timely, and dinner was also timely. And there was always enough.
That was Sports Minister Kofi Adams. Now, Ghana International Antoine Semenyo has delivered a bold message ahead of the FIFA World Cup 2026, insisting that the Black Stars are not traveling to the tournament merely to participate, but to compete at the highest level and make serious impact on the global stage. The Man City forward believes the current squad has learned from recent experiences and is now better prepared for the demands of top-level international football.
I feel like mentally a lot stronger, and I feel healthy and I'm 100%, so I want to contribute the best way I can. Whatever I need to do for the team, I'll do, and just continue being a team player. It was very surreal at that time. I was still at Bristol, so it was so special, but I feel like now I just want to prove, and we all want to prove that we're a top nation. we were so frustrated that we didn't qualify. It was very, very tough. But I feel like we've rectified that in terms of qualifying for the World Cup. But it's also like we're not just coming to the World Cup. We want to compete on all levels. So I feel like everyone in the team's ready to go. We want to, again, prove to the world that we can compete. But I feel like for us personally, we can compete with these teams. So yeah, it's just winning games and having fun and showing the nation what we can do.
That was Antoine Chemenyo speaking. Now, Black Stars coach Carlos Queiroz has outlined a passionate vision for Ghana's journey to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, insisting that talent alone will not be enough unless players, officials and fans unite behind one common purpose, the pride of the nation and the happiness of the people. Speaking in an exclusive interview on Beyond the Whistle, the experienced tactician stressed that winning at World Cup level demands sacrifice, preparation and discipline rather than mere ambition.
We have weaknesses and we have strengths. So my first job it is to make that integrity report honest, not to lie, and start to put in place the solutions for us to improve, to be better. I have to take care of the legacy, that the heritage that Coach Otto left for us, and that is the departure point from my work, my staff, the previous staff, and the players, just to make it better, improve 1% every day, and be ready for the first game. We reach that moment and the pitch with the right mentality, the right attitude, with a winning desire, with one Ghana. We have to give the example. I want that the players and everybody in the team inside, we have to give the example to the nation that we are united, that we are ready to pay the price of efforts, of sacrifices, of commitment. That's the only way that the people start to be around us and engage in our beliefs and support us. Because united and together, we have a better chance. If everybody starts somebody to go in different directions, it will be more difficult inside the pitch. But if we be able to create this wave, this spirit until the first day, we're going to be more strong.
That was Carlos Queiroz, the head coach of the Black Stars, speaking ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Now let's do some athletics because team Ghana's captain Joseph Paul Amboa, who finished 5th in the men's 200-meter final in the just ended Africa Senior Athletics Championships, has admitted that he could have performed better. Now, despite the disappointments, the Ghanaian remains optimistic that the team can bounce back and redeem themselves at the upcoming Commonwealth Games. He said this during his visit to 3 Sports on Sports Station on Monday night.
Coming into this competition, I really wanted to try something different. The last time I doubled was in Eugene, but I didn't make it to the semis and the finals. But this time, I made it to every finals in every race that I ran. So that was like, I think it was like 8 races overall. And by the time I got to the 2, I started, the competitor in me is going to make me know that, hey, you have to go there and compete. But, I started feeling the fatigue and all that stuff, but I still wanted to finish as strong as I could. I'm not going to blame anybody for this. I felt like I could do better in the finals. So it was a learning curve. I definitely learned so much from this competition, and I'm sure the upcoming competitions, I'm going in there with some motivation.
Let's head to Europe now. Patrick Vieira strongly criticized Mohamed Salah, describing the Egyptian forward's public complaints about being benched at Liverpool as below the belt. Now, speaking on Sky Sports Monday Night Football, the Arsenal legend expressed deep disappointment over Salah's social media statements released after Liverpool's 4-2 defeat against Aston Villa, where Salah claimed the club had thrown him under the bus. Vieira argued that such comments show a lack of respect and directly harm both manager Ancelotti and the team.
I was quite really disappointed by the quote from Salah, because I don't think that will help him. It doesn't help the club and it doesn't help the manager. I think it is a lot of frustration from his part, because he felt that he didn't contribute. I think there may be a frustration from his side. He been benched quite a lot this year, and I think a top player like himself doesn't understand why he's not on the field.
Can
and
you
why he's not
empathize with
playing.
that?
Listen, when you are a player at that level and you never be benched, it's really difficult to understand why I'm not starting. Players like that, I think you get a time where the best decision for him is for him to leave the club. And I think the manager or Liverpool Football Club should make Salah leave last year. I think he was the year too long before him leaving, and there's a lot of frustration, and the quote, I don't think it's the right time. We can understand the frustration, but this is below the belt, and I'm really disappointed by that comment. I don't think the Liverpool Football Club deserve this kind of comment.
Now, Arsenal are on the brink of ending a 22-year wait to win the Premier League after beating Burnley 1-0 on Monday to open up a 5-point lead at the top. Kai Havertz headed in the only goal, but was also lucky to avoid a second-half red card that could have swung the title race back in Manchester City's favour. The Gunners could be crowned champions today if City fail to win at Bournemouth. Now, Mikel Arteta is manager of Arsenal, and this is what he said after that nervy game.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be tough, and especially when you don't close the game in the first half with the chances that we had, it was going to be difficult. You can sense as well the tension and how much it means. So, yeah, very happy. Didn't concede, I think, anything, but yeah, one in the Premier League, any situation, the opponents have so much quality, and you never know. And yeah, it's another massive one. One to go.
If we divide it into halves, how good was the first half? And although the goal took a while, did you always have that sense it was coming?
Yeah, I think it's one of the best football that we played this season. It was really good. I think it should have been 2 or 3 goals, and the game would have looked different. But that's the quality as well of this team. That if you're not able to make the difference by 2 or 3 goals, we certainly have the tools to make it very hard for the opponent to score.
That was Mikel Arteta speaking. Now, meanwhile, City travel to South Coast later tonight to face Bournemouth, buoyed by the FA Cup triumph over Chelsea at Wembley on Saturday. Pep Guardiola is the manager of the Citizens, and he believes the game won't be easy, looking at the recent form of the Cherries.
The last years have been a real tough games. And, last season was in the Premier League. That was one of the worst defeats, of worst performance. I think expressed that game, start everything like we lost for the 8-9 years, and at the same time when we played quarterfinals FA Cup before to come back to Wembley last season, we played really good. So we'll see which phase we can do tomorrow. But of course, so we have 3 days. They have 10 days to prepare that game. They played to qualify for the Champions League, so I think they have an argument to be the best version of the best performance of Bournemouth. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. And when you arrive in the last fixtures, when you play for something important, the opponent already don't play for anything, so it's easier. So that is not the case tomorrow. So I'm pretty sure 10 days just thinking on us. So now we start to think on them. So, but it's what it is. When the people say, you know, play in the same conditions, never. In the teams we play in Europe, so in the last stages always you play in different conditions, but we are used to. It happened in Chelsea, have 1 week to prepare the final, we have 3 days to prepare the final, and tips and so on, but at the same time, yeah, we'll prepare the best way, knowing.
That was Pep Guardiola speaking. Now, Tottenham Hotspur manager Roberto De Zerbi has called on his players to use taunts from their rivals as motivation in their fight against relegation from the Premier League. Now, Tottenham, who are 2 points above West Ham in the final relegation spot, need 2 points from their remaining 2 games to be sure of survival, though 1 point will likely be enough thanks to a vastly superior goal difference. Now, Tottenham, who were last relegated from the top flight of English football back in 1977, will take on London rivals Chelsea later on Tuesday and can expect to hear plenty of chants about their dire campaign.
We have to play with confidence, because in the last 4 games, in the last 5 games with me, because we didn't deserve to lose the game in Sunderland, but in the last 4 we made 8 points, and if you analyze the performance, I think we could make more points than 8. And for that, we have to be confident, to be positive. Anyway, we can't forget 1 month ago what was the situation. We are not safe yet. It's tough in Premier League. Make points, make 1 point is tough because all teams fight on the pitch. All teams are very tough to beat. But we have the quality enough, and we have to show the quality with the right mentality, the right spirit. I want to see courage on the pitch, try the condition to win the game.
That was Roberto De Serbi speaking. Now, Brazil superstar Neymar was handed a dramatic recall to the country's World Cup squad on Monday, returning to the national team after a near 3-year absence. The inclusion of Neymar, Brazil's all-time leading scorer with 79 goals in 128 appearances, was the biggest surprise in the 26-man squad named by Carlo Ancelotti. The forward, a veteran of the 2014, 2018 and 2022 World Cups, had not played for Brazil since suffering a knee injury during a World Cup qualifying game against Uruguay in 2023. Now let's do some NBA because Oklahoma City guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander joined an exclusive club as just the 36th player in NBA history to be named the most valuable player. Now on Sunday, just 4 days shy of a full calendar year later, he joined the club within the club, becoming only the 16th player to win multiple MVP honors since the award was introduced in 1955-56 season. And this is what Shea said after winning the award.
Yeah, I just always keep that front of mind. Whenever, like in the heat of the battle, in the heat of emotion, like you're gonna veer off from that. But I always try to keep that in front of mind. Like if it's something that I can't control, then there's no point in me harping on it. And I guess I take advantage of those things when I get that opportunity to control something because I'm always stuck on that. That's always in front of my mind, and it's really helped me so far. I think I've just learned that over time in my career, watching the greatest players play. The goal is to win, ultimately, and taking what the defense gives you is just the easiest way to get there. And I think if you really want to win, you'll do so no matter how good your talent is. I think that's what it's about. Like.
That was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander speaking there. And that brings an end to sports here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. My name is Bill Ishen. We'll see you same time tomorrow with more updates from the world of sports. But until then, have a great morning.